Shabbat Shalom and Happy Hanukkah. Obviously, this isn't from tonight because we're the second night, but this is from an evening when it was Shabbat and it was Hanukkah, and we all got to light our candles together and our Hanukkiyot together. I love that. Look at how much light we can give off in the middle of the winter. I appreciate that very much. I wanted to show you a gift that I got this year. This is a present from my mom. It holds your shamash so that it's easier to light. Even when the candle burns down, you can do this and squish it and it still can hold on. The shamash is a very useful candle. In fact, the word shamash means something like useful. It comes from a word that has to do with being useful. I thought about how sometimes we can talk about something being used up or something being useful. I think we should choose to be useful. Another gift I got this Hanukkah is cast. I just broke my wrist over here. It's not so bad, and I can still light candles. It's very useful. I want you to think about the fact that you're not supposed to use the light from the menorah. The only light you're supposed to use is the shamash. It's part of why it was given that name. It's supposed to be useful. It's supposed to be the light that you use. So I realized also that the word shamash sounds like it's related to the word shemesh, which is sunshine. Sunshine gives off a lot of light. I think that maybe in some ways the shamash has the potential of being more useful at nighttime because one little light can dispel darkness, and one little light can make all of this other light happen. So tonight, we are not going to, I hope that you came and you were with us as we lit the candles tonight before services. We're not going to be lighting Hanukkah candles. We're not going to be lighting Shabbat candles. We already did that. But we are going to share with you a collection of Hanukkiyot, because usually we get to see the variety of Hanukkiyot that people bring, the households bring. I asked people to share their Hanukkiyot, their Hanukkah images of how they were setting up their house, and I got a number of responses. So I'd like to share this with you and your first glimpse into the special music that we're adding for Hanukkah that's from my siblings. So you're going to hear my brother Eric playing a lot of saxophones while you see the Hanukkiyot. I'll be back in a minute. Shabbat Shalom. That was wonderful. I loved listening to the music. You'll hear more of that later. And I really loved getting to see into people's houses and to see their Hanukkiyot. I missed that for this year of not being able to be in the sanctuary and lighting the candles together. That would be kind of close proximity. But we got to light the candles together anyway at the Zoom before, and we got to share in people's homes and see what life is like and what Hanukkah is like in people's homes. In some ways, it's a little bit cozier. So I hope that you continue to join us. We will be lighting candles every night for Hanukkah. So I hope you join us at least once. We sing some songs, and I don't have any virtual latkes to give you, but we do have fun. So thank you for that. So now, before we begin Shabbat officially in our service, we're going to take a deep breath, and I'm glad that I'm not really blowing on the candles, but it's time for us to be ready for Shabbat. Let it out slowly. Ah, feels good. Try again. Let it out slowly. All right, now we have a few special prayers for Hanukkah. Shabbat Shalom. The word Hanukkah means dedication. So when we cleaned out the temple after it was desecrated, we said that we rededicated the temple. It was a Hanukkah. When you put a mezuzah on your house, it's called a dedication. One of the ways that we show dedication is not just by making something holy, but by staying committed to something. One of the ways we show that we're committed to Hanukkah is that we read these selections that have been read by Jews throughout the world for hundreds and hundreds of years. You're welcome to read with me. We thank you for the miracles, for the redemption, for the mighty deeds and saving acts brought about by you, and for the wars which you waged for our ancestors in the days of old at this season. In the days of the Hasmoneans, Mattathias ben Yochanan, the high priest, and his children, when the evil government of Greece rose up against your people Israel to make them forget your Torah and to make them leave the laws of your will, in your great mercy you rose up with them in their time of trouble and fought in their fight, judged their cause just. You delivered the mighty into the hands of the weak, the many into the hands of the few, the unclean into the hands of the pure, the evil into the hands of the righteous, and the arrogant into the hands of those who engage in your Torah. For you made a great and holy name in your world, and for your people Israel you brought about the great triumph and redemption on that very day. And when your children came to the Holy of Holies and emptied your temple and purified your holy place and lit candles in your holy courts and established these 8 days of Hanukkah, grateful to acknowledge and to praise your great name. So this picture really is from last year, when we were all gathered very close together and we were all lighting our own Hanukkiyot. I know that the words that we read in our prayer book are very familiar to you, and I hope that each time you read them you have a different kind of meaning. This year I feel a little bit like how we feel for Passover, that we reenact what we went through when we went from slavery to freedom, and that even though we're reenacting that, at the end of every year we say, next year may we be free, next year in Jerusalem. So when we think about our dedicating a temple and dedicating our synagogue this year for Hanukkah, I think we're dedicated to a time when we can all be together, squished up together like this, and we can be lighting menorah again. I believe that's going to happen for next Hanukkah. And I appreciate everybody who's made an effort this year to stay safe and be able to come up with alternative ways of celebrating Hanukkah. But I want you to read the prayer book and realize that it's talking about how dedicated we are to our congregation, to each other. And I hope that you have a wonderful Hanukkah. Shabbat Shalom. There are days when we seek material things and measure failure by what we do not own. On Shabbat, we wish not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature with reckless greed. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we think only of ourselves. On Shabbat, we open our hearts to the needs of others. Therefore, we welcome Shabbat, day of rest, day of joy, day of peace. And we welcome the angels that accompany us on Shabbat.
Boi challah, boi challah, boi challah, boi challah. Boi challah, boi challah, boi challah, boi challah. Lecha dodi, lekrat challah. Shabbat nikah challah, boi challah.
The synagogue is the sanctuary of Israel. Born of our longing for the living God, it has been to Israel throughout our wanderings a visible token of the presence of God in our people's midst. Its beauty is the beauty of holiness. Steadfast it has stood as the champion of justice, mercy, and peace. Its truths are true for all people. Its love is a love for all people. Its God is the God of all people. As it has been said, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. Let all the family of Israel, all who hunger for righteousness, all who seek the eternal, find God here, and here find life. Yitgadal v'yitkadash merabah, be'alma divrach yiruteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayed d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv, v'meru, amen. Yehesh merabah mevarach, le'alam ul'al me'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, shemeh dekudisha, Vrichu Leila min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran be'alma V'meru Amen. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Oh God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing, yet you are farther than the farthermost star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of night, yet as familiar to us as the light of the sun. To Moses you said, "You cannot see my face, but I will make all my goodness pass before you." Even so does your goodness pass before us in the realm of nature and in the joys and sorrows of life. When justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when, to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives, and we can begin to change the world. And then you live within our hearts, and we, through righteousness, behold your presence.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. You shall love your eternal God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your being. Set these words, which I command you this day, upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be symbols before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am your eternal God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God. I, the Eternal One, have called you to righteousness and taken you by the hand and kept you. I have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations.
We are Israel, witness to the covenant between God and God's children.
This is the covenant I make with Israel. I will place my Torah in your midst and write it upon your hearts. I will be your God, and you shall be my people.
We are Israel.
Our Torah forbids the worship of race or nation, possessions or power. You who worship gods that cannot save you, hear the words of the Eternal One. I am God, there is none else. We are Israel. Our prophets proclaimed an exalted vision for the world. Hate evil and love what is good. Let justice well up as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. We are Israel, schooled in the suffering of the oppressed. You shall not oppress your neighbors nor rob them. You shall not stand idle while your neighbor bleeds. We are Israel, taught to beat swords into plowshares, commanded to pursue peace. Violence, which here says Hamas, shall no longer be heard in your land. Desolation and destruction within your borders. All your children will be taught of your God, and great shall be the peace of your children. We are Israel, O God, when we are witnesses to your love and messengers of your truth. You are my witnesses, says the Eternal One, and my servant, whom I have chosen. Know me, therefore, and put your trust in me. We are Israel, O God, when we proclaim you God our Redeemer, as did our ancestors on the shores of the Red Sea.
Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, norati hi lo dosef ele, norati hi lo dosef ele. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la.
V'ne'emar, and it has been said, the Eternal One delivered Jacob and redeemed us from the hand of one stronger than ourselves. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. O God, spread over us your shelter of peace, of quiet and calm, and bless us with rest. And let a time come when morning will bring no word of war, or famine, or anguish, or illness. A time of happiness, of contentment and rest. Baruch atah Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים ועל כל העולם. Praised are you, Adonai. You put over us a sukkah, a shelter of peace upon us, upon your people Israel, upon Jerusalem, and upon all the world. We give thanks for the night and its rest and the promise of peace for all the world. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, ve'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Koneh HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula livnei bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. God of all generations, of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, of Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel, be praised. Your wondrous creative power fills heaven and earth.
God of life and death, be praised. Through us, send help to the falling, healing to the sick, freedom to the captive, and confirm your faithfulness to those who sleep in the dust.
Awesome and holy God, be praised. With acts of love and truth, we hallow your name. As it is said, Y'all be holy, for I, your eternal God, am holy. God of times and seasons, be praised. Enable us through Sabbath rest to explore and learn and impart the meanings of your Torah. Make our hearts ready to serve you this day and all days. God, who answers prayer, be praised. May we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land and Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God. Source of life and its wonders, be praised. You are the miracle within all we behold. You are goodness. You are compassion. We give thanks to you forever. Please join me. God of peace, of justice, and of love, be praised. Inspire us to banish forever hatred, war, and bloodshed. Help us to establish forever one human family united in peace. God of peace, bless us with peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Lo'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Lo'olam. Ki Ata hu Melech Adon לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
It's not always easy to sit in silence. It's not always easy to listen for that still small voice, or to be the one who says the things that need to be said. We take a moment during this special night in the glow of the candles for silent prayer. Yihiu leratson.
May the words of my mouth
Imre fi vehegyon libi,
and the meditations of my heart
lefanecha
be acceptable to you.
Lefanecha
Be acceptable to you.
Adonai Tzuri,
God, my rock,
Tzuri v'gohali,
my rock and my redeemer.
Adonai Tzuri,
God, my rock
v'gohali,
and redeemer.
Our hearts and our prayers now turn to all who are ill, recuperating, dealing with the consequences of confinement, with COVID-19, or coping with the recent deaths of loved ones. O God, in our hearts we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers with the prayers of all who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you have placed within us all. Guide the hands and hearts of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and to their dear ones. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked to theirs. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, eternal God, the source of healing and health. El, Na, Refa, Na, Lahem. God, please heal, please them. El na rafa na lahem. God, please heal, please them. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. It has become our tradition to also bless and honor those who are our first responders, our heroes. On behalf of our military, police, firefighters, EMTs, doctors, nurses, and veterans, our frontline people, we say, Mishaberach avotenu ve'imotenu, may the one who blessed and protected our ancestors guard all those whom we have entrusted with the responsibility of defending our freedom, protecting us, or healing us, in this country, in the land of Israel, and everywhere they've been called to serve. Give them courage to succeed and strength to persevere. May they return home safely. Let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. You know, the Hanukkah story has two miracles that we're supposed to be celebrating. When we talk about Nes Gadol Haya Sham, and we look at our dreidel, Nes Gadol Haya Sham, our dreidel, we're talking about two different kinds of miracles. One was the military victory. And I'm going to be honest, Jews do not love having to fight, but we often have to defend ourselves. So I realize that we are also celebrating military victory, and I'm very glad and very grateful that we won. But then there's the miracle of the oil. It may not even be a true story, except that we do know that a lot of times just a little bit can be just enough. Just one light can make the world a much brighter place. We know that. So I encourage you to hold on to that sometimes we can be creative about how our little light can be celebrated throughout the world. We can make our light shine everywhere, even in a year when we're still mostly at home, when it's dangerous for us to be with other people. It's still good for us to light our light and get to be together even like this. So I encourage you, keep lighting that light, because tonight and tomorrow and each of these nights is enough to light up the darkness. There's another thing that we do in order to dispel darkness, because some of our darkness right now is inside us. Having to be by ourselves has added some darkness to a lot of people's lives. So having a celebration is one way of dispelling that kind of darkness too, the darkness that's inside us. But another way of dispelling that darkness is by singing. So our sermon tonight is a musical sermon. My siblings and I are going to be sharing some songs that you probably know already, and I hope that you are singing along with us, although these are going to be sung in a different way than you're used to. And I hope that you enjoy. I know we did, but sing. It really helps.
Ma'otzor Yeshuati, Rock of Ages, let our song Lechana Elishabeach, praise your saving power. Tikon Be'tefilati, you amid the raging foes. V'sham Todah Nizabeach, were our sheltering tower. Le'etakin matbeah, furious they assailed us. Mitzar hamnabeah, but your arm availed us. Az egmor b'shir mizmor, and your word broke the sword. Hanukkah hamizbeah, when our own strength failed us. Az egmor b'shir mizmor, and your word broke their sword. Hanukkah hamizbeah, when our own strength failed us. Ma'otzor Yeshua Lechana Elishabet, praise your saving power. You amid V'sham Todah were our sheltering tower. Various Mitzar hamnabeah, but your arm availed us, and your word broke the sword. When our own strength failed us, and your word broke the sword. When our own strength failed us.
C'est vivant so, Hanukkah hu ha-to. C'est vivant so, Hanukkah hu ha-to.
I had a little dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's good and ready, oh dreidel I will play. Yes, dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's good and ready, oh dreidel I will play.
Dreidel, Hanukkah ha-to. C'est vivant so, Hanukkah ha-to.
I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's good and ready, oh dreidel I will play. Oh dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's good and ready, oh dreidel I will play.
Hanukkah ha-to. C'est vivant so, Hanukkah ha-to.
I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's good and ready, oh dreidel I will play. Yes, dreidel, I made it out of clay. And when it's good and ready, oh dreidel I will play.
Yimalel vurot Yisrael hotan minechem bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ha'am.
Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? When every age a hero or sage came to our aid.
Shma bayamim hahem bazman
At this time of year and days of
Magavim Moshiach hu fogel
the temple did restore.
Uvyamenu kol ham Yisrael
Today the people as we
Yitachid yakum
through
lehigael
their faith and courage as we
Yimalel gvurot Yisrael otam minechem bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ha'am.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. A very special thank you to Rabbi John's siblings who helped put together tonight's service. That is Eric, Scott, and Maria. Following tonight's service, we can visit with each other and say Motzi together during the Zoom Oneg Shabbat. The access to the Zoom is on the B'nai Zion website. Tomorrow morning we have Kiddush Shabbat from 9 to 9:30. Torah study begins at 9:45, and Shabbat morning service begins around 11 a.m. Following the service, we take a moment to say Motzi and visit. Saturday morning events are all on Zoom. Our Hanukkah events continue online this year, which means that you do not have to be out after dark, and you can invite your family and friends to join us wherever they are. Every night at 5:30, join Rabbi Jana on Zoom to light candles together. The only exception is tomorrow night, when we will light at 6 p.m. and do a Havdalah service first. The Jewish Federation's annual Jewish Community Hanukkah Party will be online this Sunday starting at 5:30 in the evening with candle lighting. Go to the Jewish Federation website to sign up. Watch for details about other Hanukkah events and beyond. If you want to shop at the B'nai Zion gift shop, it is important that you call ahead. Please remember that the deadline to submit donations for flowers is 2 p.m. the Wednesday prior to the Friday you would like to have them read. Donations can easily be made online or by mailing or calling into the office. Donations this week were made to B'nai Zion Sisterhood Flower Fund in loving memory of Jake Ivinsky by Larry and Lori Ivinsky and family. In loving memory of Mary R. Selber by Mandy Selber, and in loving memory of Mandel C. Selber by Mandy Selber. Each week after the flowers are used for Shabbat services, the sisterhood delivers them to someone special. I hope you have a good Shabbat and a restful one, and stay safe. Shabbat Shalom.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
You spread out the heavens and established the earth. You are our God, there is none else. In truth, you alone are our sovereign God, as it is written. Know then this day and take it to heart. The Eternal One is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. There is none else. Eternal God, we face the morrow with hope made stronger by the vision of your deliverance. A world where poverty and war are banished, where injustice and hate are gone. Teach us more and more to respond to the pain of others, to heed your call for justice, that we may bring nearer the day when all the world shall be one. On that day, the age-old dream shall come true. On that day, O God, you shall be one, and your name shall be one. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We honor the memories of those who died this year in the military, police, firefighters, healthcare, and we add supermarkets and restaurants. We honor the memories of those who died in floods and fires and those who died of COVID-19. To lose one life is as if we have lost an entire world. May we not lose sight of the enormity of the loss of so many individual lives. We honor the memories of these people who died this year. As we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. יש כוכבים שאורם מגיע ארצה רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. However brief may be our time on earth, O God, you endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. We now recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us. We remember those for whom we're still observing the Shloshim period, those who died in the past 30 days. We remember Leonard Selber, and we remember Joseph Paris. And we remember the parents who died this past year. We remember Sister Teddy Cranston, and Tommy Crowder, and Sophie Lipo, and Robert Orlando Talbert. And as we remember those who died at this season in years past, we take them into our hearts with our own. We remember those whose yortzites we observed this past week. Esther Fish Arbeli, Sam Beenan, Ike Kulick, Jake Ivinsky, Belle Finkelstein, M. Mendel Heller, Mickey Holland, Philip Kenny, Solomon Lipo, Hyman A. Perlstein, Lillian Rothkopf, Mary R. Selber, Mandel C. Selber Sr., Yvette Sommer, Harry Steckel, Sonia Grunis Sorenko, Alexander W. Tech, Marilyn Weil, Sam Weiner Jr., Dorothy G. Zadig. In this moment of memory, our griefs and sympathies are mingled. Loving God, we praise your name. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom v'moramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imiru. Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen.
Adon olam asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, et nasa v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra. Adon olam asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, et nasa v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra. Adon olam asher malach, b'terem kol yitzir nivra, et nasa v'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ליד נשא וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא ליד נשא וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמוני קרא.
It is truly a blessing to be worshiping together, no matter how far apart we are. I'm glad that you're here. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May the light of God's face shine upon you, be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face be lifted up to you. God has something that God looks up to you about, at least one thing. May God grant you peace. Shabbat shalom.